the first mile-and-a-half oval on the season, and tonight is the Kansas Speedway. It is always a scheduled delight in Season 7 of the Speed Racing Network HairClub Truck Series. It's round number 3 from the Kansas Speedway. Coming up next on SRN. I am Emerson Arden with Jonathan Byer alongside myself in the virtual booth this evening, and we're excited to be bringing you live coverage from virtual Kansas City, Kansas. 2 weeks ago, it was Lane Doyle fighting tooth and nail to secure victory in the Carolinian Mountains at Rockingham. Can he go 2 in a row, or will someone else rise to the occasion tonight in Kansas? And JB, welcome to the Kansas Speedway, just outside of the big city, Kansas City, on the Missouri side of the state line. Here we are, beautiful night, tracks all loaded out. Qualifying has just concluded, getting ready to get to the racing action tonight. And a lot of these drivers are very excited about tonight's race because for some, it's their first time running Kansas in this new capacity with these iRacing C-Class trucks.
Yeah, there's some big updates that happen to these trucks. The aero on them is a little bit different, and if you don't really have a lot of experience with that at the point, it can be kind of hard to gather it up. You know, I think it's a feel-based thing. We'll see. Definitely, I think a difference tonight on who's had experience with it already and who has not.
Absolutely. And so qualifying again has concluded. Gridding has already commenced. These drivers are getting ready to get to the racing action down on that pit lane. Let's get to our starting lineup then. Up on the screen as we speak, it is Andrew Harris, again very fast last week out at Rockingham, looking to see if he can hold that top spot tonight. He'll be starting on pole position with a 30.591. Drake Carty will start second in that 59 machine. It's Jason Kratke and Trevor Edwards we're out row number 2. Bill Brady, Dalton McKinney will round out row 3. It's Joshua Siegfried having a nice start to the season in that 15 machine in P7. Matthew Greathouse will start P8. Austin DeLong will start 9th, and Connor Cunningham, a nice top 10 second position for him, JB.
Kyle Spears rolls off 11th. Jeffrey Vickery will roll off 12th. David Flanagan 13th. Lane Doyle 14th. Ben Park 15th. Evan Carbon 16th. Kyle Johnson 17th. Jeffrey Radke 18th. Kevin King, one of our subs here tonight, 19th. And Scott Kalal 20th.
As we carry on down the starting lineup, starting in 21st will be Daniel Baldler in the 2 machine. James Shane Wolf will start 22nd. Justin Smith then 23rd in the 6. Jason Green 24th in the 55. Up in that top 5 in points. Great start to the season for him as he's second. It's Colton Collins 25th. Joe Ruggles in 26th. Sean Merriman 27th. Chris Luttrell, Daytona race winner, will start 28th. Running out row 15 on the grid will be Sean Corcoran and Sean Long.
Here at the rear, Wally Babb 31st, Corey Stahl 32nd rather, Dylan Godinez 33rd, Shane Ledoux 34th, Robert Vick 35th, Dan Park 36th, and Mark Person will round out the field of 37.
That is our 37 drivers ready to do racing action tonight, and the field is already doubled up, working their way around the high banks of the Kansas Speedway. And it's about time for the racing action. It's Andrew Harris, Drake Carty, and green flag is in the air here from Kansas. One lap complete here from the Kansas Speedway, and it's Andrew Harris out in front. He's got Bill Brady, Jason Kratke, hot in pursuit behind. This pack getting a nice feel to the track. Everyone's still working all 3 lanes, but we'll see as the night goes along which lane starts to become the dominant lane.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week as well. Multi on the table. I think this one's a little bit more wide open than Rockingham. And I think the other pack, you see a natural transition. I think you're going to want to hunt the bottom early. You're going to want to save a little tire. It's the shortest way around. But from my experience, and I haven't driven these trucks since the update, but as the run goes, the further up the track you get, and eventually the third lane is right up against that outside wall.
So Andrew Harris keeping things in check up front. It is 3 wide for that second position as Trevor Edwards rounds the high side. Big push here from the 46 of McKinney. And look at this. The 71 surging to the point. Drake Carty down on the inside trying to make things work. Wrapping that white line. Bo Brady a little sideways behind. And McKinney trying to insert himself into the mix. Now McKinney and Carty going at it for third.
Yeah, this is a little bit tight of a track as far as what your options are on the front stretch, because you see that D-shaped oval. We saw it last time where they made it through safely 3 wide, but I don't know if you're going to see a ton of that as the race goes on. Netcode unfortunately causes some issues there, but I don't think that's going to be sustainable. They got away with it there, but we'll see how long they can keep that up.
It is Andrew Harris up front getting worked on for that race lead. He holds position for now, but how about that 71 to Trevor Edwards, newcomer to SRN, and already making a great first impression, getting himself way up into that mix and showing that he's here to compete.
Yeah, driving the number 71, which we normally see driven by Spencer Brown. This is Spencer Brown's substitute driver for the evening. He's doing a great job so far, and I've heard that he's a pretty quick guy, so no shocker there. Speed early, that's fine, but this is a 95 lap race, so there's plenty of racing left to go. We'll see how he can maintain, but he's given Andrew Harris all he can handle here for the top spot.
Absolutely. We'll see if this can be a constant all through the evening as he works to the middle lane here. Andrew Harris closes that door, shuts the door up high, and McKinney sat there in third. Everyone jostling for position behind, and now down to the inside goes the 71.
I tried the slide job there on Andrew Harris. I don't think he's going to make it work at this end. Andrew Harris is going to get the momentum down the front stretch. You see the 71 trying to shorten the distance as much as possible. Going to be even getting into the first turn here, and Dalton McKinney is right there behind these two. So if we see a slip up, Dalton McKinney might be in the right spot.
Well, here we go, side by side. They work their way down the back straightaway. We'll take a look a little further back as we'll see all the action back here. This is Bo Brady, who was up in that mix right up front, right in front of him. Now having to fight tooth and nail with the 51 of Vickery and Joshua Siegfried. With Siegfried being right now 4th in the point standings. Great start for the season for him. Trying to keep up that run right now, up inside the top 10 of 8th.
What I'm impressed with so far is this a track where you can run pretty flat out on new tires, and you can actually pretty decently into the run pretty flat out. That usually causes some issues with a field this big and this tight to where we can have a little bit of calamity, but everybody's done a really good job of kind of just giving each other space. We saw some good racing action, saw some 3 wide, but a good respect to space, and so far we've settled into a nice green run here to start this race, and so everything's starting to get a little strung out. I think now that we've reached lap 10, really when you see guys migrate around. I mean, our 3 leaders have been stuck now to the top the last 2 laps, so it just shows you they're moving up. And as we slowly look back through the field, even including this battle right here, you can see now instantly right here they're running a lot higher than they were just a couple laps ago.
Absolutely. Big move here. Jeffrey Radke working on Bo Brady. There they are for that 7th position. Up front, McKinney has gotten past the 71 of Edwards, and now Harris trying to hold station up front. McKinney, big one. Can he drop down to the inside? The door's open. He drops down side by side down the back straightaway on lap number 11 from the Kansas Speedway. McKinney ships it down to turn number 3. Did he put the stamp? Did it send? He did. Clear to the race lead is Dalton McKinney.
Andrew Harris gave him a shove there. Almost like, hey, I saw you clear, I'm going to give you it this time, but that might be the only time. The 71 now is knocking back on the door. Andrew Harris is done with this battle yet, but, if I were him, I would also be thinking, we got a lot of racing left, 80-plus laps. Might want to just let this one go for now, collect yourself, reel them back in a little bit later.
Absolutely. Now under heavy pressure from the 71 machine of Edwards, and they go side by side. Edwards has the advantage. We'll see now if that 87 machine is affected by the dirty air that has now been thrust upon him.
Yeah, now we've seen Dalton McKinney get that clean air in that truck. He has started to set sail. Now, I do realize these two right here are battling, and that's going to slow them down a bit, but that's the largest lead we've seen of a truck here since the very, very beginning of this race. So I think Dalton McKinney's found his clean air, he's found his rhyme, he's found his rhythm, and that's not something you want Dalton McKinney to do from experience, because once he gets comfortable like that, you know, barring any unforeseen circumstances, he's hard to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Dalton McKinney, a very fast driver here at SRN, of course, was one of our title contenders last season. Nearly getting into the wall. There was a 71. Here goes Andrew Harris with the return fire. Into turn number 3, already long clear before they get to the corner.
Yeah, you saw Andrew Harris that last time by get up into the fence a little bit. That's the price you pay for running the high line, but in turn it slowed his center corner speed down. He got a really good run off the corner, and he was able to complete the pass. So maybe that little mistake actually found him something. But you look right behind this battle here, Drake Carty, who we saw battling up there early, I think started outside first row. He's starting to reel these guys back in, so he might have just spent the first 12, 15 laps here just saving a little something. He's still rolling the bottom, and he's doing it with a lot of pace.
Here we go, we're right on board with the 59. How about it? Drake Carty, big run, trying to clear past Trevor Edwards. Edwards holds advantage for now, but for how much longer will he be out in front of those number 59 machine? Looking off the rear end now, you see back there, DeLong at 22, having a nice run early here. Radke, Vickery behind, all trying to close in, but for right now, it's Carty on the up, as you mentioned, JB, trying to close that gap. But you start to notice here, JB, look at that top line. All these front runners starting to gravitate towards that top line. Now, that could mean two things, right? That could just be the absolute fastest line on the racetrack right now. That could be. But it could also mean that these drivers are hanging on for dear life. Usually when you have kind of burnt off the good on your tire, your last resort of defense, right, is to go to that top side because it's much harder to make the pass on the inside.
100%. And usually how that happens is you start to get a little loose. You start to lose some rear drive, and then it just makes it really, really hard to run the bottom. You can't ever get a good corner exit. You're doing a four-wheel slide on corner entry. So the natural option is to bail to the top and just kind of play throttle and feather it and keep you kind of pointed the right direction. The risk you do pay, though, is, however, if you get a little bit too close to the fence, it can suck you in. Luckily for Andrew Harris, when he got it a couple laps ago, he kind of just bounced off of it. But you always have to be wary of what might happen if the fence sucks you in. But I'm really impressed with what the 59's doing, because he's hanging right here with these top trucks. I mean, lap times are almost identical, but he's running the bottom with it. And as we continue throughout this run, it's just going to allow him to save a little bit more tire. So as we get towards the pit stops needing to happen, you know, he's going to be able to run a little bit better time to the ones that are falling off around him. And if he has a good pit stop, he could actually jump a few positions. So, you know, it's one of my favorite strategies I always used to use when I raced here in SRN, was kind of run the bottom, try to save as much tire as possible. So I guess a man that plays after my own strategy, I have to tip the hat to him. But I like what he's doing right here.
How about this right behind? It's DeLong and Jeffrey Radke. Gloves are off. These guys, they're going at it. It's DeLong really trying to keep the pressure on Radke. Radke has made his way up 13 spots from where he started, and DeLong is not giving up.
Really good battle right here. I mean, the whole backside of the top 10 here is just full of battles. Now you see Drake Carty finally get position on the 71. He's going to clear him. 71's going to try to get back to his right rear. But you saw, like, in the 59 there, he could have easily just blocked it and we're on the top. But no matter what, when the 59 gets to the corner, he just wants the bottom. So he's making sure he can get there. Might not be your first move, but he's committing to that strategy. And I think so far it's paying off. And then back there, you see Radke get a big run on the 22, kind of undercut him off the corner, and he's going to get it here into 3.
You're right. And the other thing with Carty right up the road, right, is when he cleared, just as Radke does here, McCarty, I think, even did a little bit of a better job of it. He forced the 71 of Trevor Edwards when he came back to make the crossover to lift a little bit. Carty made that rear end of the 59 as wide as possible, and ultimately that's what's going to hold position for that 59 here. Radke maybe could have done a better job of making that rear end as wide as possible, because here comes DeLong right back. Right there, that was the difference between Carty clearing Edwards and Radke clearing DeLong.
And what you saw there is what you saw a lot this weekend if you watched any of the 3 National Series race at Kansas this past weekend. The 22 was able to roll so much more speed in the center of the corner. And once he got to his right rear, the 3 has no choice. The 3 is going to wreck himself if he throttles up. So naturally, the 3 has to wait a little bit longer to get in the gas. And that little hesitation can mean a lot on the drive off. And that's what happened. That's where the 22 was able to get back around the 3. But back up front here, this is tightening up in a hurry.
It sure is, JB. Check this out. This lead that Dalton McKinney has had, you mentioned it was one of the largest leads we had, and all of a sudden it is just a whisper. I mean, it is Harris right all over the rear end, just over a car length behind, and or truck length, if you will, and going out of here. Harris losing a little there in the center, but I think he's going to gain it back on the exit with the aid of slipstream as well. And Harris continuing to put this pressure on McKinney, letting him know that, hey, you might be out front, but, you know, don't get too comfortable. You know, one little slip up, Harris will be right there, Carty will be right there. Lots still at stake, even though you've gotten the race lead.
Yeah, and why I didn't even think about it is, you know, I was watching the 87 kind of bounce off the fence a couple times while we were watching the battle with Great Carty right behind him, and now he's in the picture. So I was like, oh, he's probably not getting close, but he was doing just enough to bounce off the wall but not get sucked into it to still make enough speed to get right back up there. His lap times have kind of equalized off, and I think part of that has to do with 59 catching him, because now Andrew Harris not only has to look at his windshield, he's also got to look at his mirror. And the 59, ever since he got around the 71, has moved up a little bit. Not necessarily running the fence like some of the others, but he's still peaking. You see him peaking just a lane lower. Keeps him clean air on the nose of that truck and keeps himself in a good position to try to make the pass. And ultimately, what that does is if 87 slips up a little too high and gets to the fence, it's an easy position for Drake. You know, he doesn't have to do anything special. The one risk you fall doing that right there is when you follow somebody on the high line into the corner and they get up in the fence. Sometimes you don't have enough time to get out of the way, and it can cause some major issues.
A little bit of a touch, a little bump out of turn number 4, or a rub, if you will. And Carty trying to clear up, not clear. Harris fights back hard, side by side for a second, and McKinney's loving it.
Yeah, McKinney's starting to stretch that lead back out now that these two are battling. I think the 59's got the better truck, but Andrew Harris, he's not going to lay over and let you pass him. So he's going to try to make that truck as wide as possible. Well, look at the wall there on Andrew's part, and that might give the 59 a clear view here. We'll see what the momentum does. Not quite, but that wasn't just a small bump off the wall there for Andrew. That was a pretty decent amount of contact.
And we'll see here off of turn number 4, not clear yet. We continue on.
I really like that Drake not pushing the issue here, not trying to self-clear himself. Might pull a little slider here, but that's all fair in this game.
Here comes Andrew Harris.
Try to cross him over, but I don't think he's going to quite have it. That's a great pass by Drake and shows great patience. You know, he could have forced that issue 3 laps ago, but then it might have cost him both the race. But instead, he waits on it, uses momentum, slowly works on it, and is now clear to P2. And we'll see, you know, the 59's still running some pretty good lap times if we do a little comparison. I know he's battled with Andrew the last couple laps, so it's slowing him down, but now that the 59's got a little bit of track in front of him, I want to see what those lap times look like and see if he can close up on the lead or not.
So Drake Carty, the newcomer to SRN this season, he shot onto the scene with great runs in the duels and, you know, keeping his name up front almost constantly, you know, the last 2 weeks, and tonight might be starting to become one of the strongest statements yet on what he's going to be here at SRN in this very young season.
Yep, runs for a great team too that I know has a lot of support behind him, and that just makes it that much easier. You know, he's got good people in his ear during the races, does a really nice job. Last 2 laps he's cut off 2/10, so he's definitely making a difference there, but it's still going to be a couple laps before we have a battle for the lead, I think.
Jeffrey Radke's march up the running order. JB looks like it stays here in 5th. Now, it was a valiant effort after starting 18th for the 3 machine. And, trucks into the wall behind. We got one truck sideways.
Yeah, we had a truck into the wall out of turn 2. I think it was Vickery there.
Yep, there he is.
One. Stacked everybody up but incredible job by the field, especially with how tight those guys were running. They all kind of had to scatter, but avoided calamity. And a good job by Vickery, too. He knows he's got the wall, but he doesn't go darting across the racetrack and cause a big issue. He kind of just sets it right there, slows himself down, announces over the radio, hey, I'm in the wall, check up. All good.
Ben Park!
Park up there gets a little, that's the same thing right there. Now he gets a little bit of the wall.
Uh-oh,
Look how quick these guys come up on him. That's the problem. You get the wall and it really sucks you in like that. But another fine job there. And that's all you can ask for. You know, when a truck slows up, you just want them to kind of stay in that.
Battle for the lead.
Place. There we go. Well, I said a couple laps. Here we are. And I thought we'd have a battle, but I don't know if that's going to become one. I think Carty's done what I said. And, you know, the first 10 or so laps, he just saved as much as he could. And he's been on a tear ever since. I mean, that last lap was almost a quarter second better than the 46. That's how we did it.
Oh, look at this, JB. It might be better. We'll go in-car here. The 46 of McKinney is hanging on for dear life on corner exit. That wheel is more right than it was left.
That tape line right there on the wheel will tell you. He's almost straight in the middle of the corner. So that means that, and he's putting right off the corner and kind of tank slapping it. He's loose. And that's why I think the top is the only option. You're going to see him on the bottom here, but on corner exit, he's just going to get way too loose here, and he's not going to be able to get any drive off it.
Matthew Greathouse, Joshua Siegfried going at it. Greathouse down to the inside.
Really good drivers in our field. Again, that awesome breast cancer awareness paint scheme on the 15. We highlighted it last time we were on track at Rockingham. Still rocking it, looks great. But yeah, two drivers that we expect to be forces throughout this season. You know, right here they're battling for 7th. That just goes to show you the level of drivers that we have in the series.
Connor Cunningham, that 24 machine. Up there in the point standings as well, I believe. Still to the top. Oh, big man into the wall, Jason Green!
Jason Green, big hit to the outside wall. Does a great job of making sure it's just him involved. We'll have to see what the extent of the damage looks like. Obviously, it's off the pace. We'll see if he gathers it back up. But that was considerable contact to the right front area of that truck. Looks like he's gathering it back up here and at least up to speed. I don't see the tachometer dancing around, which tells me he's probably avoided any engine calamity, but obviously aero-wise that truck is going to be hurting. It might become a little bit tighter with all that damage right there on the right front, but looks like he's hanging in there.
First driver to hit the pit lane tonight, Joe Ruggles in the 36 machine.
And this is when you can start thinking about, okay, what's my strategy going to be? Because you always wait to see on that first run what the race will play out like. Could it be a caution fest? Yep. Could we go green?
Here we go!
Yep. Are we going to go green? Probably not. The 33's around. Yep.
Caution.
Going to bring up caution. Well, just when I thought I was going to make some great strategy pitch. You could do this, or you could do this. Here we are.
That timing, JB, was impeccable.
So disregard whatever I was about to spend the next 2 minutes saying. Doesn't matter. We're under caution. But we are, just around that 3rd mark of the race. So if you were going to plan on splitting it in thirds, which is probably what Joe Ruggles was going to do, it just happened to work out. We'll see if he's on the lead lap still, because if he is, he's actually going to cycle out the lead. So we'll let iRacing cycle through, and we'll see if that's going to be the case.
Well, here we go. You got it queued up here. Yeah, look overhead here. Corey Stahl in that blue 33 machine. Clears up, tries to stay in front. I believe that was Ben Park.
Yeah. That's honestly one of the toughest things about these trucks is you cannot see.
Right.
You can't see through them very well. So if you're trying to get around a truck, you're trying to peek around them, but you're not sure what's in front of them. If you're checking up on somebody in the wall, you got to make that move quick. I don't think that's what was
Oh,
happening
Jason
there,
Green.
yeah, I don't think Jason Green expected to close up on the 33 that quickly would be my guess. But at the end of the day, right, we just had a single truck spin on the backstretch, no big damage, all's good in the neighborhood for now. Which, if you're gonna have a caution, that's the best way to do it.
Well, this thing, JB, this is also, we saw Corey Stahl go around at the very same angle as this at Daytona, and he flipped over. So that time not flipping over. Now, of course, the speed's not nearly as high as Daytona. But you did see that right rear tire when he went around, JB. That thing was about to lift off.
He was thinking about it. The safety built in these trucks, we are a-okay. No, but I mean that's you see how fast the closing rate is if somebody has to get out of the gas, which I'm guessing is what's happened to the 33 there. Tough to say. I mean, there was no chatter or voice chat that would say neither here nor there. I think your admins are still looking at what the cause might be of the caution. But when you close up on a truck that fast, you have to commit to your move. And I think Jason Green said, okay, I'm going to move to the left, but probably thought the 33 was going to keep fading towards the wall because there was still a little bit of room there, and then they just connected. I think it's one of those racing deals where you're just fighting for space on the backstretch, and there's just a disagreement over where you can fit. But at the end of the day, I don't think it cost either of them the race. They can be able to put fresh tires back on. Granted, going to need a little bit of help on the track position side, but they will be a-okay.
Seems like it. Looks like everything will still trek forward for everyone. Jason Green, of course, already got into that wall, JB, right before he has that contact with Corey Stahl. So it'll be interesting to see if Green was able to kind of flip the situation that, well, it might give him, a penalty for causing the incident, but get, some repairs.
Yeah, and I think circling back on when we saw the 96 and Joe Ruggles there on pit road during that caution, always going to split in third, great strategy. I believe he did end up going one lap down, which means, yes, he's going to get his lap back here as the lucky dog. He was the only truck one lap down, but he's not going to be able to cycle up to the lead like I thought he may be able to. So that would have been a big advantage for the 96, but at the end of the day, he kind of resets right where he was running anyway. So
I don't believe so.
Slightly better, but he's okay.
JB, I don't believe he will be getting that lucky dog. I believe
he might have waved around, or is he still showing a lap? He might have been multiple laps down. If that's
that could be one thing.
The field.
I was say Jason Kratke is lapped and scored ahead of him.
Interesting there. Yep, Ruggles is still showing at the very back. He is still showing a lap in arrears. There must be some other things going on there, some more developments. Maybe we got to do a little bit more research to get to the bottom of what's going on there. But we still are 41 laps into this thing now.
Great start.
We still have every truck on track, full speed.
100%. A few of those right sides have been dinged up a little bit, but hey, that's the fun in games here at Kansas. Oh, yeah.
We're going to say the same thing in a few weeks when we get to Darlington.
Yep. Well, you saw everyone ripping the wall after they got those tires a little worn in here. We'll see what happens here. It is Dalton McKinney, Drake Carty to front row, and green flag is Indiana Racing from the Kansas Speedway. Turn 4, and the caution's gonna come out. Evan Colbon.
Jason Green looks like he was involved in it. Mark Person, Joe Ruggles, Shane Ledoux as well. Kind of the back third of the field here having some issues on that restart. We'll go back and take a look at it.
This is that aggression JB, that just kind of boils up on these restarts here. You see Carl Bon racing hard, the 51 of Vickery. Ooh. Vickery gets the apron, Carl Bon is sideways, and Carl Bon kind of just goes for a solo spin. Now, I know... Oh,
yeah, there's going to be some replays, some in-cars. We got to look at that. I saw Jason Green, Mark Person, Joe Ruggles. They all recorded an incident point there, so there might have been...
on the initial, on the restart, yeah.
Bang in there. I think where that started is Albon ran 51 out of room in the... Well, didn't necessarily run him out of room in the corner, but definitely didn't give him an inch. And it just started a whole chain reaction that eventually led to that 78 going around. But I think it all stemmed from when he was pinching the 51 there against the apron.
So this...
It caused the truck to get loose.
Heck here, JB, this is what you're talking about. This was a lap prior to the Carl Bon spin. This was on the restart. Back here, Jason Green, Person. Everyone just stacks up.
Big stack up.
Someone did not get the memo back there. I think Shane Ledoux saw green lights. Didn't see, well, there's no brake lights, so I was going to say brake lights.
Yeah, maybe we needed them. Okay, well, that answers that question I had. So they weren't involved in this incident. Now, granted, all those trucks there are going to have, I think, some substantial damage. Cause I think this is a pretty good hit. Yeah, that's a pretty good lick right there. You don't really see a lot of damage there, but I can guarantee you iRacing has deemed a certain level of engine damage has been done to that truck. We'll pay attention to that. I don't see any of them smoking, so that's a good sign. But
that was a
hard lick to the back of the 96. The 55 we just talked about earlier, had that damage already on the front. He was able to get it fixed into that caution.
I'm with Vickery here in the Carl Bon spin.
Yeah, you saw when the 78 got real close to the door, the 51 sucked the 51 around, and the 51 got the apron. Vickery did a great job of keeping that truck together. That's an easy way to lose a truck right there. Did a good job keeping it together, but ultimately the 78 was loose as well off the corner. Kind of got side to side on it and self-spun. Good avoidance by everybody else behind him, though. There were a couple close calls there. But they did a good job.
One of those cases of cautions breeding yellows. And, yeah, a little bit of restart craziness, if you will. But I think you expect that more than the previous version of racing with these trucks at Kansas, only because the field does get spread out here, JB, and it's harder for you to make up those spots, as opposed to, say, we came here same time 1 year ago. You could get spun, but you would still be able to work your way up slowly but surely through the pack.
Yeah, I think the best example of it is you have to find a way to differentiate yourself from the competition, because track position is important, so it's going to be hard to pass. That's why I really like what Drake Carty did to start this race. He played the idea of, hey, I'm starting up front, so I have good position. I'm going to fade a little bit, but I'm going to save enough where I can make it up through here a little bit easier when everybody else starts struggling, and it's just easier for me to work my way up and get better track position. Contrary, what we used to see, and what you're referring to is, I'd say the best example is the Vegas race from past years.
Yeah.
On the 1.5 miles in the trucks on the service on a track where you could hold the foot to the floor, they would just stay packed up the whole time. And if a truck got out of shape and checked up, you could pass 6 or 7 of them. Well, that's not the case anymore. But because it starts to get sprung out and harder to pass, you are going to see more aggression on the restarts. You guys know, hey, this is my best chance, especially if I'm not good at tire saving, to make up a couple spots.
100% JB, and this restart is going to happen just 1 lap shy of halfway, and so some good timing here. Our second caution of the day. This one to start pretty much the second half of this race. Dalton McKinney, Andrew Harris, green flag back in the air. This pack is really formed up right now. Everyone trying to stay glued to the truck in front of them because they know sooner rather than later they may be losing their buddy here.
Yeah, and further in the back, Jason Cracky, Evan Carlbine got in a little altercation.
Oh, truck going around the 88 of Godinez! Back into the heart of the field. He gets a 74 of Sean Corcoran. The caution's going to come out.
Wally Babb, Carlbine, Sean Corcoran, Scott Claw all involved in that. Whenever you see a truck spin back into the pack like that, that's bad news.
It sure is. Man, but you know what? Still, I think the pack did a great job of avoiding a lot of damage there.
Yeah, that could have been a lot bigger ultimately. I mean, still the amount of trucks involved is going to be quite high, but there weren't a lot of hard hits. But there's a silver lining in it. I think that's it. But that's a product of what we just talked about for that restart, Emerson. The fact that these guys know, hey, this is my best chance for some track position because I can pass a bunch of trucks at once. See what happens here.
Look, contact from behind.
Yeah, and then everybody else behind is just naturally going to stack up because the truck in front of you sees that he's going to slam on the brakes, but you might not even know what's happening. Like I said, you can't see through these trucks. It makes it really hard.
We're going to get a little close here because we saw it was Daniel Baldler in that 2 machine right behind. Well, let's see the start of this one. Baldler, big run here to the center corner. And I can't tell if Godinez isn't committing to a line there, but yeah, just rough spot there.
I think Baldler was committed to gas.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It could have been. Yeah, I mean that's probably the easiest way to look at it. I think the other way you could look at it is if Godinez was loose right there because he's got the 2 right there on his right rear quarter, it'll loosen that truck up. He's probably trying to roll in the gas a little bit slower. He can't commit to it like the 2 truck can. And because of that, the difference in committing to the gas is usually going to result in that. So, unfortunate incident there for the 88, the 2, and everybody behind them. The full list involved in that accident appears to be the 88, 54, 2, 14, 99, 78, 74, and 23. So if those involve your favorite drivers, sorry. But I think all of them will be able to continue. I think Sean Corcoran might be the worst for wear. He's still sitting on pit road getting some repairs. Everybody else has already returned to the racing surface, which is good news for them. But looks like Sean's trying to get off pit road right now, so he's at least attempting to stay on the lead lap, which is good news. That means he thinks that truck's still got a little bit of pace left in it. We can continue to compete here tonight.
Well, we have valiantly fought for 51 laps at this point, JB. I think it's going to be it's time we take a quick break here and get a quick message from our partners here at SRN. Don't you go anywhere.
What I'm about to do is something you never want to do, ever, period. But because I have top coat F11, I can. Watch this. Literally, black paint. I'm just wiping it dry. Come on, you can't beat that. You just can't beat that. That's Top Cut F11 for you.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible.
Welcome, race fans, back to the virtual Kansas Speedway. Green flag back in here. Zone McKinney leading us back to green. Turn 4, and the caution will come out again.
Got a truck up against the wall here on the front stretch. Can't tell quite who that is. Cracky Ledoux showing some more damage. Shane
I think it was Shane Wolf. The truck I saw go in.
Yeah, on the left side of that truck. Shane Ledoux actually being shown a meatball flag, which means substantial required damage to the number 12, who we just saw in that last incident as well. Or a couple instances ago, rather than that restart, had some heavy front end damage.
Well, here we go. They all kind of bottled up coming out of turn 4, JB. And this is going to be it. The 86 on the apron, everyone checking up. And it'll be the 14 of Shane Wolf getting sideways. Oh, big hit for Ledoux on the outside wall.
That's what got the 12 there with that required repair. It looks like the 14 was in the middle of 3 wide, and you could tell he was just trying everything he could to keep that truck pointed the right direction.
That was hairy,
it was
yeah.
Dancing side to side, and ultimately, unfortunately, he ended up catching a little bit of the 12. And that was a hard hit for Shane Ledoux.
Yeah, look at all this happening.
Watch that steering wheel.
Into a side door in the 86.
Yeah. It's just the perfect wrong arrow situation is what that is. Which, Emerson, we talked about when we started this event, the fact that the aero package or the physics on these trucks have changed. You know, before if you ever start to get loose, you just push your foot to the floor, throttle up, and you're generally going to be fine. You know, you can get out of it. And the same thing, when the truck starts to push, you just kind of steer to the left a little casually, and you're fine. Well, now, it's really a lot more sensitive to handling. I compare it kind of what the Xfinity cars used to be when they were on that a little bit easier tire model, is a good way to explain it. They still don't drive that way, you know, still there's a lot of drag. Draft means a lot. But the side-to-side forces that the physics engine uses here on these trucks have changed, I think, for a betterment of it allows the driver to kind of dictate what happens to the truck more. But ultimately, he's going to put guys in situations like this, where unfortunately, if you're in a bad aero spot, it's going to not be good news for the rest of your day.
Well, here we go, working lap 56 of 95, JB, and it's been quite the show. Again, a nice green flag run to kick things off, but a little bit of a lull in the action. It's kind of been restart, make it to turn 4, somebody 25th on back spins, and do back and try it again. And that's part of the style, right? Is, you know, if those guys back there, especially the faster guys, that, you know, they're a little desperate to get their way working forward, but you know, one little thing, and you know, or that time now, I think we're finally, you know, seeing some people get affected to the point where their races could be ended. For the first couple incidents, it was kind of just spinners and not too much damage. I just want to see how far maybe these guys will take it, you know, where they got to balance, you know, finishing the race versus, you know, spots in the now.
Yeah, 100%. That's all things you have to keep in mind. I think another just kind of wrinkle that's been thrown in this race now is the fact that these laps have ticked down at a pretty good pace. I mean, we had a good green flag run early, and the caution laps here go by at a pretty decent clip. We come back to the line here, we'll only have 38 laps left, so everybody for sure can make it here on fuel if they've stopped in the last couple laps. I mean, I'm showing just one pit stop for a large amount of the field, which means they came down on that first initial caution. So they've been out there now since lap 39 on what they have right now, which if you think about it, yeah, from a straight up standpoint, if they restarted there on lap 41, which is when the green would come back out, they can't make it to the end. However, we've had a lot of caution laps since then. So I guarantee Jeffrey Radke, Andrew Harris, Drake Carty, these guys you see here up front, probably doing as much as they can of these cautions to save fuel. And I honestly think they should be pretty close. Now, that last caution, we had a couple of our front runners come down. We saw the 71 come down. We saw the 46 come down. So they're going to restart a little bit deeper in the field, all the way back, 23rd on back. But now they're guaranteed to make it to the end. They also probably put on a set of tires, so they're good. But I mean, everywhere from 20th on up, they're still on that initial pit stop that happened on lap 39. So depending on what happens here, I think if we get another caution, I think these front guys are probably safe. But if we go green here, you got to start thinking about, okay, who can actually make it on fuel? Very much just like the truck race this past Friday had.
So they'll get doubled up and getting ready to go back to the racing action. Jeffrey Radke, Andrew Harris, Drake Carty, Austin DeLong, David Flanagan, Connor Cunningham, Daniel Baldwin, Kyle Johnson, Kevin King, and Bo Brady to the top 10. The iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down the pit lane. The field in the hands of Jeffrey Radke. Let's go again. Green flag from Kansas. Removed from the restart. This time, Radke cleared out to the race lead again. He started 18th, JB, P18, and here he is.
I was looking just behind you. The 5 of David Flanagan was in a terrible position. I don't think these guys here in the mid-pack really want to see this go green, if I'm being honest. The 5 was just up in tangles. He's survived, but that wasn't easy to do.
Here comes Kyle Johnson in at 48, trying to stick his nose in the middle. Carty holding station up high. How about the 90, Kevin King, part of DNG Motorsports quintet, trying to show what he can do.
And this is where I kind of scratch my head at the guys that just came down pit road, because yes, I guarantee, okay, you can guarantee yourself to make it, whatever. But how are you going to get through this?
You're not.
The track position you give up, you got to think at what cost.
Yellow.
This might help those guys on fuel for sure. There's a truck in the grass.
Cal Spees.
Spees came over the race chat a couple laps before that caution, and said he got in the wall. So I don't know if that was a predecessor to what happened here, but that 78 truck's been through it tonight, unfortunately for Evan. Still out there making laps, but I think every corner of that thing has now seen some action.
That part is true. And so we get the replay here. He's racing Dalton McKinney in the 46. And trying to stay ahead of Kyle Spees. Oh my goodness!
Wow. That's a hit. So Spees is the one we saw go through the grass. Unfortunately for the 78, he took a brunt of that. Wow. I'd like to say I know what happened there, but that's as tough as it gets for calls for admins, because you can make a good argument either way. You know, yes, the 78 has the right to get off the corner, but the 36 is there. And I don't know, netcode probably might have had a little bit of something to do with it. You know, for sure. You can't rule that out, but wow, that was a lick for the 78.
Sure was. That like you said, JB, really, really tough, right? Carbon trying to hang on to that truck, trying not to, spin out, and Kyle Speed's trying to take advantage of it, as he should. He's a race car driver, right? Or a sim racer anyway. But if gap car, and so Kyle Speed's did, it's hard to really put wrong on either.
I take that run. If I'm Kyle Speed, I take that run too.
100%.
And you're there, right? But I can almost guarantee you the 78 does not have a spotter. That's not iRacing, which iRacing, yes, does have a spotter feature. The accuracy of it, that's a loose term. But, he doesn't know that truck's coming up on right there until it's too late. It's just such a fast closing rate. But like I said, you can make an argument either way. That's why they deem the term racing incident. I think that's a really good spot for it. Unfortunately, I think that might end the day for the 78, who's had, like we said, a rough go so far. I don't think that truck's going to be able to continue. I think Speeds is okay, just maybe a little bit of front end damage, but I think he'll survive. But what we were talking about before that, how happened there, some guys pitted that last time, how are they going to work through this mess? Okay, we have another caution. So the guys that remained up front, about 1/3 of them came down that time, which makes me think that those guys up front, they're not all 100% sure they can make it. Some of them are probably getting really, really close. But if they're going to give up the track position, they know for sure, hey, there's maybe an under 50% chance I can actually make it. So, I don't have the ability to see how much everybody has in their tank from this spot in the broadcast booth, but just from the eye test, that kind of some of the cues that can give away what these guys are thinking as far as what they have left.
Yeah, it'd be really close, right? The helper for these guys is that, for these full tanks, which is new for these guys for the most part in SRN competition. With 30 laps to go, we should be good, right, with the yellows and everything, but we'll see how everything rolls from here. A lot of those guys again did pit 38. A full fuel tank, right? It'll say when you come off the pit lane, you go about 60 laps. That's about what these guys had. These cautions should help. It's going to be close. They've been saving under these yellows, and I expect the same to continue. Should the yellows continue? But as the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down the pit lane. 5th restart on the evening. Green flag in the air. Jeffrey Radke. Off of turn 4, the field fans out 3-4 abreast across the stripe here, Kansas. 29 laps to go. It's Radke and Harris doing battle. DeLong there in 3rd, trying to clear up there. Harris cleared by Radke, and Kevin King up to 4th.
Hardy had some contact there with the truck to his outside. I believe that was Andrew Harris there. That almost went big. Actually, I think that was a little further back. That was almost in a terrible spot. Connor Cunningham got loose off the corner there off 4. He's going to drop a few spots here on the apron. We got trucks literally all over the place.
That indeed. Bed Park catches the wall there entering turn 1. On the apron is the 59 machine, and Kevin King trying to work his way up to Austin DeLong. Gets to the inside now with the 90 of DeLong. Down to the inside, up front. Radke holding station up front. He says no one's going to get around him on the outside. They'll force him down low. And double wide amongst the top 8.
I mean, you can visually see the aggression changing. The guys are getting runs now, and they're just taking it. Like before, you would have seen maybe a little bit more decision making go into it, that time is out the window. With 26 coming to go the next time by, if they get a run, they're taking it. But Jeffrey Radke, man, one of the best at restarts, and you see it right there again. Jumped out to a nice spot, has pretty much set sail, but here comes Andrew Harris reeling them back in.
Look at this pack of trucks. The aggression is there. They understand all the yellows, restarts, being the best place to make up spots, and they had plenty of them. But you don't know when that last restart is going to fall. And these drivers racing as if it is the last restart. Even though it's 26 laps to go, still plenty of time left in this race. These drivers fighting hard and throw wide back there. Trucks on the apron trying to pass one another. No out of bounds here at Kansas.
We got to report that the 90 of Kevin King has had some connectivity issues where he's blinking, and he's right up there in the mix, right outside the top 10. That's not a place where you want that happening. We'll see if he ducks out of the way or whatever happens there. But admins were just talking about that.
Yeah, you kind of notice it a little bit, and that could definitely affect the way these drivers try to attack a potential overtake on them. Up front, this is Harris under attack from DeLong. DeLong trying to clear to second. Cardi trying to take it 3, and he is! He sticks it in at 3.
Cardi said, remember, tonight was about me.
And we
I
see
still want it to
4.
be about me.
Flanagan backs out. 4 wide was on the table. Doesn't take it. Still a lot of race to go. No need to force the issue there. But 9/10 of a second is the gap now Jeffrey Radke has on the field. And everybody's running over one another for second.
If there's one thing Jeffrey Radke loves, it's watching this. Now we're back 3 wide. Cardi, he's determined to just make whatever he can happen there on the bottom. Andrew Harris has been the unfortunate one stuck in the middle. DeLong cleared a second. We'll see if he's able to pull away from this group. But, man, they're doing a great job staying 3 wide and giving each other enough space to make it happen.
Harris trying to close the door. Oh, man.
That lead for Radke, man, he was able to, when they were battling for second as hard as they were for a few laps there, he was able to put a nice gap on them.
Big run here. This is the 71 of Trevor Edwards, who we saw earlier, really giving a fit to these front runners. And here we go again. It's the long cleared to second, but they are still 3 wide, directly behind. Flanagan trying to get to the tailgate of the 22.
Oh, we got a big crash on the backstretch. We got all kinds of stuff.
Up and over the 51 of Vickery.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. The 51 of Jeffrey Vickery just, I don't know what happened before that, but looks like he got shot out of a rocket. Headed towards turn 3 and was barrel rolling and flipping and wow. It initially caught my eye because I saw a truck just dead sideways on the backstretch, and that's usually not a good sign.
I'm guessing the sideways you meant was not, sideways to the racing surface with all 4 tires on the ground, but maybe tires off the ground.
It might be easier to tell you who wasn't in that wreck, honestly, and safely I could see probably the top 12. Everybody else on back is probably part of this.
There we go. Looks like Jason Green contacting the 18 there, back across traffic. Big hits here. Bo Brady. Look at it is. Oh my goodness.
Oh, what is happening
Oh
here?
my goodness. 2, 3, maybe 4 trucks up and over on the back straightaway here at Kansas.
Your computer said I'm done. I don't know what to do with that.
That was a lot.
Like we see one truck over, I'd say unfortunately once a week, right? But 3 all at the same time? That's impressive. And then 4 if you can include the 51 who wasn't even in that initial shot. Wow. That was big. It was tough to see where that started, but you're right. It was right there, kind of where the 18 was running. You saw Jason Green kind of there in the middle. I just wonder if somebody was not aware they were 3 wide. This would be a good look at it here. Ooh, Jason Green just goes left. I don't know if he got help from behind, maybe. And then it's on from there. And wow. The victory somehow flips. I don't know how, considering where he was right there in that last picture, but anyway, he took a ride. I'm wondering if the 55 got a bad bump there on the backstretch and it sent his truck to the left and it just started a chaos.
That something certainly did happen here. So.
Well, I'm going to have to tell you because it's part of what my job is, but here's who was involved in that last accident. Matthew Greathouse, Wally Babb, Jason Green, James Shanewolf, Sean Merriman, Bo Brady, Sean Long, Jason Kratky, Joe Ruggles, Colton Collins, Jeffrey Vickery, Chris Luttrell, Dan Park, and Robert Vick.
See the damage to the 51 machine as he took that barrel roll in turn 3. And
then typically that's going to be terminal. The 55, another truck that's just unfortunately been in the middle of it all night.
And Jason Green, again, it was second in the points coming into today's race, JB. That's going to be huge this early still in the season.
And you see him there rolling off pit road, which is a good sign that tells me he's still got a motor in that thing. So he's going to be able to keep going. That's a plus because, I mean, we've had, this is race number 3. And
yes.
I'm going to say it for the 3rd race in a row. Every point matters. So if you can get back out there and pass a few trucks, stay on the lead lap, whatever, we look back here in a couple weeks, when we're talking bonus points for where you're seated going into the playoffs, because I'm assuming he's going to be a playoff driver, because he's gone pretty deep in the SRN playoffs before. That's going to matter. So never too early to start thinking about points, Emerson. Never.
Well, to continue on after a crash like that certainly has the points interest first.
I do want to point out, Dalton McKinney, their 3rd lane top side, he was the first of those trucks that pitted a couple cautions ago, kind of right after we had a few restarts. Gave up all that track position, but we knew for sure he was going to be good to go to the end. With the incidents, the guy spread out. He's just kind of slowly made his way back up there, and now he's P6. And with 17 laps to go when we take the green, that's going to be right in striking distance.
It certainly will be, and this restart to come with Sean Long as the new race leader, JB. A bunch of drivers did pit under that yellow who weren't in the wreck. They still pit under the yellow to top off on fuel and kind of put any worries behind them. Only one driver still pitted on that initial pit stop cycle, which was Bo Brady, who starts second. So as the iRacing.com safety vehicle finds its safety down in the pit lane, the field in the hands of Sean Long and Bo Brady. Green flag back in the air, 17 to go.
Emerson, based on what I'm seeing, I don't think we're going to make it 17 laps.
4 or 5 wide behind. These trucks are... I mean, this could be it for a lot of these drivers because of where this race might go. Take them because there's a lot going on. Everyone jostling, moving left, moving right, up and down. Oh, Cardi nearly going to go off the nose of a truck there. He thinks better of it. Oh my goodness.
Wow, this is just an all-field battle.
Turn
around there on the front stretch.
It's Kyle Spees, another one around though. And Justin Smith in the 6 machine.
Yeah, he looks like he got some help from behind. I think the 90 of Kevin King was involved there as well. Spees, I think, got lucky there. Just went through the grass.
I think you're right, JB, on detective work. We'll catch the replay here with Justin Smith riding right behind us. That's Scott Kalal and Finished off there by by Kevin King. Just goes for a slide. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, that's best case scenario right there. Great job he didn't overcorrect and go back up into the track and collect some more drivers. But I wouldn't have thought we were going to have an accident there, considering what had happened before. Yeah, it looks like he just got loose. Yeah, and the 90 there just finished him off. No fault of Kevin King there at all. Just part of it.
It's just a hard spot there. So, we rejoined these drivers with 14 laps to go. The restart would definitely come closer to 12, maybe 11. And by lap count and the way the first third of this race was going, JB, this is looking to be a quick one. And I mean, it's still trending, fast pace in terms of overall race time, but the pace certainly slowed down. As the aggression, the tenacity definitely went up.
Yeah, we got off to a really hot start, which I was ecstatic about. But naturally, Emerson, the laps start ticking down, the cautions start coming out, and we find ourselves in this situation every time. Not to say, hey, these drivers can't keep it together. It just shows you how much
a lot of passion.
Every one of them wants it. There's so much on the line. Obviously, there's a payout every race, but more importantly, you win and you're in the playoffs. If you're in the playoffs, that's good guaranteed money at the end of the season if you're a full-time driver. So these guys are already thinking about that now, and that does create some of this aggression you see. But at the end of the day, and you remember this from your time driving as well, cooler heads do prevail.
100%.
It may not look like it in the time, but how many times last year did we talk about Kyle Spees just right place, right time, didn't wreck himself, just did what he did right there, avoids wrecks through the grass, and doesn't get it all tangled up. Well, he won, 6 races last season?
Yeah, definitely was a prime title contender.
All year long?
Oh, yeah.
And that's just what it takes. I mean, granted, yes, he can go out there and win it on speed too. Not saying he can't, but he's just Mr. Consistency. He does it really well. He does a great job with it. Another driver I think of when it comes to mind when I'm talking about that is somebody like the Park brothers, right? They kind of just mind their P's and Q's, get to the race. I mean, unfortunately, Ben Park's been caught up in a lot of not his fault incidents this year and is paying the price in points, but those are guys who are going to show up every week. They're going to just get what they can out of their vehicle, even if it's not their best track, and that's what it takes. Now, we haven't had a road course yet, but we have one coming up. I think Watkins Glen is in a couple weeks on our schedule. That's when we'll get to see who the road course ringers are, and they're going to definitely fight tooth and nail because they know that's their best option to get into the playoffs is at a track like that. I'd say the top name that comes to mind in SRN history, Adrian Schumacher, right?
Yeah.
He was a great driver, but man, when we hit those road courses, he knew that was his chance.
Yeah, you knew Adrian was going to get you a good finish at a mile and a half like Kansas. He'd be a top 10 finisher. You'd put money on it. You'd put money on him winning at a road course.
Yeah, I would start betting the gap from first to second on him winning at a road course. And most of the races he was in, if he didn't find an accident with a lap car or something like that, he was dominant. So we don't really know who's going to be that person in this field this year. I'm kind of curious because we have so many new drivers, but it's something to look forward to here in a couple weeks.
I am excited. Who does take the road course reins? Cal Spees was fast at Canada last year. Andrew Harris was fast, but no one sticks out yet as the road ringer of the series like Adrian did. We'll see if someone takes that crown. Then coming up next is Talladega too. We're gonna get that super speedway action done early here, and it's Austin DeLong, Andrew Harris leading the field back to the green. 11 laps to go from Kansas.
We had some out of line out about mid-pack. I'll listen and see if the admins rule anything on that, but you can't change lanes before the start-finish line. So a couple of those guys back there got a little wild, but we'll see what happens.
We'll keep our eyes on that. And 3 wide for the race lead, JB Flanagan down low. Harris in the middle. DeLong up high. Hit. DeLong slams the wall.
Man, these guys are still going at it. Great job by David Flanagan just saying, you know what, you guys can fight it up there. I'm just going to stay way down here and out of the way. And that might pay off. Andrew Harris, though, has the best momentum out of the middle of the corner there.
Sideways was the 5 machine. Harris clears. Flanagan tries to fight DeLong. DeLong trying to go the long way around. Staying up high. The battle back here now. Carty trying to fend off Bo Brady. Bo Brady's going to sit right in front of Corey Stahl. Stahl wants to go, but he can't. Tries to go up high. Tries to go down low, and the 9 blocks them all.
Good job, Corey Stahl. That could have been... I'm glad he noticed there was a truck there, because that could have been catastrophic.
I admire the patience and level-headedness of a driver like Corey Stahl right there with 9 laps to go. Man.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been me. But, you know what, more power to him.
Would have been hard for me to do the same thing, that's for sure. Everyone lines up off the corner. It's Trevor Edwards and Scott Kalal making a nice move up inside the top 10, up in 9 from that 23 machine. Dalton McKinney, trouble behind! Connor slides, contacted by Radke, and what a save!
What a save.
Oh, here we go. That's not a save. Up and over is the 3.
Truck. Oh, no. Oh.
Godinez,
Austin's
Siegfried.
finally out. This 15's around.
Oh, my goodness.
That was something else right there.
That's
Connor coming over voice chat talking about that save. That was incredible because we could see the door number on the side of that number 24 in the middle of the corner. But simultaneously, something happened with the 71.
something did happen.
Take a look at Connor's save here first, maybe. But something happened with the 71. He got the outside wall, and it just blew up from there.
Well, we'll see here. Yeah, Bo Brady and Trevor Edwards, big hits there. Scott Kalal involved. This is coming off of turn 2.
Fortunate for the 3, Radke.
Just turned over like a top.
On the truck. And what's our upside down count tonight? 5, 6 now, maybe?
Oh, the fact that we've had to go to a second hand is not great.
It's not a good sign. But to be fair, 4 flipped over in one incident that probably only should have been 1. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. But that's going to put a lot of these trucks, unfortunately, their days likely over. Some big hits in there. And that's just guys off the corner going for every inch.
That was huge.
Yeah, under 10 to go. You're not going to give up any room on corner exit, especially with the run like the 71 had. And
so here's that hit from Connor Cunningham, contacted there by Radke, and
oh my goodness,
great catch there.
Save.
Here's the rest of this. Bo Brady and Trevor Edwards get together, and
that's all
Radke gets sent.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Wow, man, but Connor Cunningham's right. He deserves props for that save. That's hard to do right there, especially in the middle of the corner. Great job there. Unfortunately, well, I guess maybe fortunately, he actually backed up a little bit because of that and wasn't in that incident. So that might have been that might have
worked out for him because Radke got hit, and well, he got hit by Radke on corner entry.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he's just like, oh, you get up in there. I'll wait for this one to explode first. Well, iRacing cycled the pack back around here, so I'm kind of looking through who's running where. Quick shout out, and I feel like I'd say this guy's name every week, but he gives me reason to. The 7 truck of Dan Park.
Yeah. Started
second to last, so P36. He's now sitting 11th.
Look at that truck, not a scratch.
Man, that's just how it is sometimes. I'm still seeing the replay screen up on the screen actually right now. I'm looking at the 7 truck. Yes, you're right. Not a scratch on that vehicle. Another guy we haven't talked about much tonight, Jason Craig. He's up there in 10th place. And that's a good run. That's a clean-looking truck as well.
For the chaos we've had the last 30
How about
laps.
last week's winner?
Yeah.
Lane Doyle, 5th. Another good run for the 47. And you know, we talked about coming into the season, you know, we have some returners that we are just expecting to take that step forward. You know, Lane had a pretty quietly decent season last year. I know missed a few races, had a couple unfortunate incidents, but we saw little flashes of pace. But now we've seen it back-to-back weeks where he's really putting it together at, you know, two completely different racetracks too. You know, you think about the difference between Kansas and Rockingham. So kudos to the 47 truck with a top 5 run so far this evening. I think we will get restarted before it's officially a green-white checker.
Yes.
This will not count as an attempt.
I think you're right.
Harris
Perfectly on Lane Doyle. He had pace. I think he picked up a win last season too, but he wasn't like a Kyle Spees title contender. At least here in the early going. Right now he's the point leader. He's up inside the top 5 for the third for a third week. You know, Lane Doyle is looking to start to make a regular season champion campaign, and you know we'll see if that can carry on.
Yeah, the other part of it is, you think about it, if we're interviewing you every week, like we have so far with Lane Doyle, that's a pretty good sign. That means good things are happening, so that's not a problem to have. But yeah, just point out a couple of guys that have kind of made a quiet evening into a decent run. Kyle Spees, we talk about it every week. Here he is, 8th place. Truck looks perfectly fine to me. We just saw him go through the grass, and that's not going to cause much of an issue, so don't count Spees out of this one yet.
Here you go, 4 laps to go. The restart with 3. You're right, JB. It'll be 1, or I guess 2 laps away from officially being a green-white checkered. And so the iRacing.com safety vehicle will find its safety down in the pit lane, the field, in the hands of Andrew Harris and David Flanagan. 3 to go. Green flag back in the air. Flanagan nearly turned off the nose of Carty.
Wow, wild start there. Carty jumps to the bottom line to try to get in line. Everybody else is trying to find some room behind him. Harris is clear out to the lead now. Battle's going to be from second on back.
Does anyone have anything for Andrew Harris? They're side by side down the back. DeLong trying to close that gap, but he's got to fend off Carty and Flanagan.
Flanagan was running the bottom. Now he's on the top side. We'll see how that does for his speed. We got other guys just cut across the racetrack behind him trying to find some clear space. DeLong's now clear to second, but Flanagan's not going to let him have it.
3 wide for second. Andrew Harris leads them all off of turn number 2. Carty tries to jump back behind. 2 laps to go from Kansas.
Once we get to the white flag, if Andrew Harris crosses the stripe under green, the next flag will be the end of the race. So this race will be official.
Off of turn number 4. 1 lap to go from Kansas. Andrew Harris has a 0.2 of a second advantage.
All Harris has to do here is go mistake-free for this lap, and I don't think anybody else can get enough momentum to catch him. The rest of these guys are just fighting for some money back here at the backside.
Oh, truck right into the wall, Dan Park! That one's going to leave a mark. But the one who's leaving their mark on tonight is Andrew Harris in the 87. He will win here at Kansas.
What a drive by Andrew Harris late in this race. Did everything right. The most important thing right, that last restart. Great jump, got clear, ran away. Did not get messed up in all the chaos behind him. Ultimately, unfortunately, it looks like the 3 of Jeffrey Radke, the 17 of Ben Park, considerable damage on that last lap. Bo Brady as well showing a little bit of damage there as well.
Wow. And we now look at Andrew Harris. He will soak it all in, JB. He was quite the run last week at Rockingham, by the way. Just didn't get it done at Rockingham. I wonder, the pace, where if he thinks he could have 2 wins to this point. But Andrew Harris, man, he's had a lot of pace to start this season, and he'll put a win in the column and get himself locked in.
Tap there from his teammate. Also reminds me, this is the first win for our newly formed Park Bros Racing. So Dan Park, Ben's Park, team, the great team they've assembled, kind of what was left of Bird Dog Racing plus a new addition. They've done a great job so far. Great looking trucks every week. I get to talk to them on a weekly basis. They're just a great group of guys. They do it all the right way. So always happy to see them win. Andrew, one of the longtime competitors here at Speed Racing Network, another one of the most stand-up guys in the field. So always good to see him take it home, and he's gonna celebrate this one for a few minutes before we get to talk to him.
As he should. As he should. Andrew Harris, man, what a wheelman to this point this season. Again, very dominant at Rockingham, but just couldn't get the win. And tonight, dominance again, really. A lot of pace all evening long, and proving that he is the worthy race winner tonight, and probably should have been last week as well. And Harris, man, he's starting the season off on a high note.
Also brings me joy, too, to see some of the old JBR sponsors represented on this team this year and in this truck specifically. Them getting a chance to get back to victory lane is really cool as well. Well, it looks like iRacing's finally finished the full results. It took a while for it to cycle out. I was just looking at it. There was a lot of craziness on that last lap, and I guess the timing finally caught up. But, man, the craziest
Oh, there goes the engine.
the first 10 all finished within about a second and a half of each other. So it was a great battle there to the finish. And those guys behind Andrew Harris were scrapping for those positions. Mainly because, right, the top 5 every race get paid. So you want to be one of those guys in one of those spots, and you're going to kind of do everything you can to get there.
Certainly, and well, we're going to take this moment here, JB, to talk to our race winner. And it's been a couple weeks of a lot of pace out of this 87 machine, Andrew Harris. I know you probably think you should have won last week, but you get it done tonight. A lot of pace to set off this season, and a win in the column so early, Andrew. What does this do for you, tonight and your confidence for the season, man?
I'm so happy to get this one out of the way. Glad that it came at Kansas. I was just there on Sunday. Got to do it today on Tuesday. It's awesome. I'm so happy to get this out of the way. I think it's been like 3 seasons or so since I've won, so I needed this.
Well, it was an impressive drive. We were sitting up here watching it, and lots of comers and goers. The race started out real green field to it. I mean, obviously we saw that you had pace, but we just knew when this race kind of became a calamity fest, you just have to find a way to keep your track position. And then we started talking about fuel, and everything me and Emerson talked about just kept going out the window with more cautions. But what was your thought as soon as we started to have those cautions? Were you thinking, hey, I need to just pit as early as possible to stay up front as long as possible to know I can make it? Or at a certain point you're going, man, there's been a lot of heat cycles. I might need to come take a set of tires.
Well, like you said, it went green, that long green flag run, and I was like, okay, this thing might go green. So I thought about, I didn't have the save tire that some of the guys did, so I was like, okay, I got to be easy on my tires. And then the caution started, and honestly, that's unfortunately where I shine, because short runs is where I'm at because I can't save tires. It was a pretty easy decision. It's like 20 laps to go or something. Take tires, just run it out, run as hard as you can, and see what happens. It got real crazy there. I don't know, like 10 laps to go when we had that restart. I think I was 4 wide in the middle on the edge of the apron in the track. I didn't know what was going to happen. Just kind of kept my foot in it.
Well, it all works out for you tonight here from Kansas. Andrew, as you said, it's been a minute since you got that win, but I'm sure the pace you had last week, 2 weeks ago at Rockingham, and tonight, and getting the win done, that's got to do a lot for your confidence. If it hadn't wavered at all last season, it certainly should shoot right back up this season. It's going to lock you into the playoffs. Great runs to start the season. You're going to be truly in contention for regular season champion. What's your outlook now? Is it any different than what it was maybe before the win?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm so happy to get the win out, get in the playoffs. Now just kind of ride the momentum. I don't have to drive as crazy, kind of just chillax a little bit. Um, I'm just really, just really excited to be here, winning again. This is awesome. I hope to keep it up. But this is one of my favorite tracks, so really wanted to get this one out of the way. This is awesome, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. Before we let you go, I was talking to Emerson, you were doing your burnouts, and it was kind of cool for me because, obviously, newly formed Park Bros Racing. This is the first team win that you guys have, so, obviously there's going to be some celebration there. But then the affinity for me, right, to see some of the former JBR sponsors still living on through your team on the track. I know you have additional people to thank tonight, so now's where we roll out the red carpet for you to thank everybody you need to before we drop you back with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I'd just like to thank obviously Ben and Dan Park for asking me if I want to join the team. Awesome of them to bring me on. Jason Green, Connor Cunningham, and then you guys as well for putting this whole thing on. Coffin Confections, Blanchard's Towing's not on the car right now, but always a good sponsor there. And yeah, just everybody that helps me. My fiance that lets me do this without getting mad at me.
Well, congratulations on the victory tonight here, Andrew from Kansas. Best of luck to you next time out at Talladega. Hope to be talking to you then.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you then.
And that was our race winner here from the Kansas Speedway, driver of the number 87, Andrew Harris. And now we'll find our way down to our second place finisher, driver of the number 5, and David Flanagan. And this driver was really showing some muscle tonight, getting up, getting dirty, not dirty, but getting physically into the mix tonight, up inside the top 10. David, tell us about how your run and how it was working through all that traffic tonight up into a podium finish.
It was definitely interesting for sure. That first green flag run, I felt like I ran pretty good. Got it inside the top 10. Luckily, the caution came out because I was starting to slide a lot. And after that, I kind of was just in the top 10, and then we had those like 3 cautions in a row, and it was wrap after that. I knew I wasn't going to pit until we had a green flag run under our belt, and I wasn't going to give up the track position.
Well, certainly, and David, you really, came to life tonight in that 5 machine. Fitting you had some wings on there because you were flying up the running order. David, it really seemed your truck did come alive later, or at least you became a more prominent figure later in the race. What was that, or did you get more used to the track, or did the race just kind of come to you?
I just messed up my qualifying time. When I was practicing, I came a little close to Andrew. Andrew was way faster than my qualifying time, but I was close. I shouldn't have been mid-pack where I was in qualifying. I messed up my lap, slid up in one. So that's why I qualified like mid-pack or so, but I knew I had the pace in it. I just had to get in the front, and I'm glad I did it clean. I kept my nose clean at the same time too, and raced everybody respectfully, and that's how it should be, getting it done.
Yeah, it definitely put on a good show for us to watch up here because at one point we saw you on the very bottom, then all of a sudden you were in the middle of like 5 wide, and then at the very end you're way up top, passing everybody. This race had a little bit of everything. We're 3 races into this season. You've had a couple good runs. Obviously, you're going to be in contention for playoff spots with how you've been running. We have another wild card next week in Talladega. How do you approach next week? Are you just looking to get through that second super speedway, put that behind you, and then really get to work on the rest of the season? What's your approach?
Like I said, I consider myself a speedway racer. There's definitely a strategy, and there's definitely ways to race it, and I feel like I have that competitive edge on super speedways. Myself and Evan and Trevor alongside me, I definitely have. I mean, they're not my teammates in this series by any means, but my experience comes from speedways, and I mean, I race with the best in the world at speedways, so that's definitely where an area that it's not just another race trying to get past it. It's I want to win it.
Well, there you go, David. Congratulations tonight on the second place finish. Is certainly going to elevate the start to your season. Looking to get a nice run out of Talladega next week, David. Best of luck to you then, and hopefully we're talking to you.
Yep. Hey, shout out McCullough Motorsports and Chrome Racing, Jack, Bryce, Trey, Brady, Adam, Kenny. Thank y'all. Great truck. See y'all later next time when I'm in top 3.
There you go. I like it. Not if, it is when for David Flanagan in that 5 machine, JB. Next, we'll be finding our third place finisher, driver of the number 59 of Drake Carty. And Drake, another great finish for you tonight. That D&G Motorsports crew has been fast this season, and for yourself, great run tonight. It'll be third for you tonight here from Kansas, but a lot of paces out this season, Drake. Another race where you're kind of a prominent figure up front. How about it? Gonna give it one more try to bring up driver of the number 59, Drake Carty. Drake, you got it?
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
There you are. Well, this is our third place finisher, Drake Carty. And Drake, I was just saying that this race, another one where you're kind of a prominent figure up towards the front. A lot of pace to start this season. Great finishes to this point, Drake. How about it tonight and your start to the season?
Yeah, this one was probably one of my favorite races. Being the one in control with the tires towards the end of the run, kind of making my way up through, gaining on everyone is probably the best feeling I've had all season. Tires were really good towards the end of the run, the first stint, and then once it went yellow, kind of just stayed up front, kind of fell back off of the restart trying to save, and everyone's just pushing as hard as they could. And then towards the end of the run, end of the race, I was like, all right, I got to get up there again. So I just went full push, and it ended up being a third place to finish.
Well, we saw, I think one of your best runs as far as SRN's concerned tonight. The one thing I actually was talking about you a lot. You can ask Emerson to begin this broadcast because you were taking the approach that I used to on a lot of these races where, in the first couple laps, you kind of just take it easy there. You kind of let the race come to you. You save a little bit of tire, and then boom, you're there ready to go, which is what we saw, which makes me think you probably wanted to see that go green a little bit longer. But once we had all these cautions start happening, how did you have to change your approach to still have a shot at this podium?
Yeah, sorry. Like I said, I was really excited for the green stint to be that long so I could actually save the tire and use it towards the end. But once we went yellow, yellows breed yellows at this track, so it just kept going and going. So just fell back after the restarts, and then I noticed it was like 15 to go. I'm like, I should probably get up there if there's another caution. So started pushing, running the wall, not really saving tires as much, and trying to get up there again. So if there was another caution, which there was, I'd be up there towards the front to fight for a chance to win.
Well, Drake, coming up next is Talladega, second super speedway race on the season in the first 4 weeks. How about it? How do you plan on attacking it, and what's your outlook?
Well, Daytona wasn't very good for us. We finished 21st after running up front all day. So a little worried, I'm not going to lie, for Talladega, being another super speedway. But there's only one way to find out how it'll go. So practicing with my team, DG Motorsports. Just want to thank Ibach Springs, Tony G's Pub, D-Long Performance, and all my sponsors and my team for helping me. And we're just going to do what we did this week and practice and get good.
Well, there you are, Drake. Congratulations on the podium finish here from Kansas. Best of luck to you next time out at Talladega. Hopefully we're talking to you then.
Thank you guys for the race. It was fun.
Absolutely. And that was our third place finisher, driver of the number 59, Drake Carty. And yeah, some very happy individuals up in the podium tonight, JB. Everyone kind of having different outlooks on the season, but ultimately same goal: get to the front. Yep,
and you hear all those drivers are just hungry every time they get in the truck. You asking about next week? They already have an idea of what's going to happen. They've already mentally prepared. Granted, Talladega, maybe they don't need to put a lot of practice laps in. Some might for qualifying, right? Because we like to see, teams definitely like to try to get together, qualify well, or what have you. So that might be something of emphasis. But, we talked to Andrew Harris about, hey, you got the win out of the way. He's in the playoffs. We know he's going to be a threat. Well, the points just updated. He went up 12 positions in the points. All the way up to P2. So, that just goes to show what an impact just a really good run can have. even win, right, to catapult them that far up. So great insight from all of our podium finishers tonight. A great top three and a great battle there towards the end of that one.
Well, let's go through our race results then. Up top, it'll be Andrew Harris with the victory, David Flanagan, Drake Carty, the top three, Austin DeLong, Corey Stahl, Ben Park, Lane Doyle, Kyle Spees, Dalton McKinney, and Justin Smith round out the top 10. Justin Smith recovering from that late race spin very nicely.
Yeah, great job by him. Connor Cunningham with the killer save brings it home 11th. Matthew Greathouse 12th. Sean Long 13th. Dylan Godinez 14th. Mark Person 15th. Kyle Johnson 16th. Scott Kalal 17th. Sean Corcoran 18th. Robert Vick 19th. Jeffrey Reitke rounds up the top 20.
Find our way down the running order. Sean Merriman nearly went up and over on the back straightaway. He'll be 21st. Jason Green had a rough day, but he still finishes on the lead lap 22nd. James Shane Wolf 23rd. Daniel Park, last lap incident unfortunately catches him out. He will finish 24th. Last truck on the lead lap. As we start our way down Heartbreakers Road, one lap down driver Jason Kratke 25th, Colton Collins 26th, Trevor Edwards was very fast in that 71 machine, will finish 27. Chris Luttrell, our Daytona winner, Kevin King will finish 28th. Chris Luttrell, our Daytona winner, will finish 29th. And Joshua Siegfried, after having a great start to the season, will finish 30th tonight at Kansas. He'll look to bounce back at Talladega.
Rest of the field, unfortunately, didn't get to see the end of this event. Bo Brady, 31st. Wally Bowd, 32nd. Jeffrey Vickery, 33rd. Daniel Bodler, 34th. Joe Ruggles Jr., 35th. Evan Carlbon, 36th. Shane Ledoux came down, P37.
And so that is how they came to the checkers, or didn't, this evening. I want to give a shout out to all of our partners here at SRN. Of course, a huge shout out to, of course, the series namesake, HairClub. Make sure you use code, Speed Racing. Make sure you use code SRN10 for 10% off of your HairClub purchases. Of course, huge shout out to Thermo Pro, Admin Box, of course, Premier Racing Setups, our network sponsor. Make sure you use code SpeedNetwork15 for 15% off of your Premier Racing Setups purchases. Shout outs to Top Coat and Better Boat as well for joining us along for the ride here in SRN. It was a great night tonight here at Kansas. Great green flag run to start, a little bit of chaos and carnage to end it. Nothing like a good little mix that Kansas can bring us. We'll look for more wild racing, I guess, next time out at Talladega. Make sure you're there. JB, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just looking a little bit ahead, obviously Talladega next week. Then we kind of get the super speedways and hopefully the wild cards out of the way. I look at that next stretch of races throughout this month of October. We got a great month because Talladega next week. Then we go Charlotte, Roval, Las Vegas, Homestead. I mean, fantastic tracks for these trucks the remainder of the month. And then going into the winter season, we have some really cool races like our Salute to Service week at Pocono. We'll have Throwback Week coming up at Darlington. We'll have the All-Star Break making a return this year in late December. So, I mean, we're enjoying these weekly shows, but I can't stop looking forward to what's coming this season. And based on the show that these drivers have put on through 3 weeks, I think we're in for some incredible racing all the way up until the playoffs. And then I think in the playoffs, it's going to take a whole nother launch up. I mean, we naturally see really good playoff racing here in Speed Racing Network, and I don't think this week's going to be any different. So I would like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We've had really good audiences our first 3 weeks. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the great action. Our merch store is updated as well, so you can go to speedracingnetwork.com/shop, shop all that great merchandise. There's actually a sale starting pretty soon, so stay up to date on that on our Speed Racing Network social media platforms. And then also a quick shout out to all of our partners that make it happen. Emerson's referenced a lot of them this evening. Can't do it without their support. And they're also enjoying these great shows we're putting on here on a weekly basis.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that'll do it for us this evening here from Kansas. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Join us next time out as the HairClub trucks take to the Talladega Super Speedway for round number 4 of 24 on the season. For all from Speed Racing Network, Jonathan Byer and myself, Emerson Arden, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week out.